All right, welcome to day 2 of chapter 11.1. We're going to continue with our chi-squared distribution, chi-squared test for goodness of fit. We're going to look at carrying out the test. So basically what we're going to do here is we kind of spend a little bit of time on box 1, identifying the null and alternative hypothesis specifically. So when we look at box 2, or step 2 in our 4-step process in the planning out part. So again, we still have randomization, so we still want to have our well-designed random sample. So this is our S. Independence, you still want to establish that when sampling without replacement. We've got to check that 10 times our sample size is less than or equal to our population. But then our last one is not a test for normality because the chi-squared distribution is not normal. So what we need to do is we need to check for our expected counts. And again, that stipulation that all our expected counts are greater than 5 is what we check in that portion of the second box. So before we start using the chi-squared goodness of fit test, we have 2 important cautions to offer. The chi-squared test statistic compares observed and expected counts. One of the biggest mistakes people try to do is they try to do the test statistic and compare proportions. Don't try to perform calculations of the observed and expected proportions. Do not do that. Get the actual counts. And then when checking the large sample size condition, be sure to examine the expected counts, not the observed counts. So again, it's the expected counts up here, not the observed counts. So, suppose the conditions are met. To determine whether a categorical variable has a specified distribution of the population of interest, expressed as the proportion of individuals falling into each possible category, we perform a test of our null hypothesis, that the stated categorical variable in the population of interest is correct, and the alternative is that it is not correct. Then we'll start by finding the expected counts for each category, assuming that the null is true, and we'll calculate our chi-squared test statistic. And when the sum, where the sum is over k different categories, so no matter what categories we have to add those all up. The p-value is the area to the right of the chi-squared. So in our distribution, we'll have our chi-squared distribution that's skewed to the right. Our test statistic would be here. Our p-value is always here to the right of that test statistic, of that chi-squared test statistic. Okay. In using k minus 1 degrees of freedom. So the number of categories minus 1. So we'll take another look at another problem here and start it off right from the beginning. In his book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell suggests that a hockey player's birth month has a big influence on his chance to make it to the highest levels of the game. Specifically, since January 1 is the cutoff date for youth leagues in Canada, where many National Hockey League players come from, players born in January will be competing against players up to 12 months younger, so for those born in December. So the oldest players tend to be bigger, stronger, and more coordinated, and hence get more playing time, more coaching, and have a better chance of being successful. To see if birthday is related to success, judged by whether a player makes it to the NHL, a random sample of 80 National Hockey League players from a recent season was selected and their birthdays were recorded. So here's our problem. The one-way table below summarizes the data on birthdays for these 80 players. So we divided that into the quarters of the year. So the first 3 months, so that's the first quarter, 32 players out of the 80 were made the NHL, et cetera, for each of the different quarters of the year. So initially it does look like there are more players that have earlier birth dates than those who have later birth dates. But the question is, do these data provide convincing evidence or statistically significant evidence that the birthdays of all NHL players are evenly distributed? And one of the words we might want to think of this as equally distributed among the 4 quarters of the year. So, state, we're going to be on our first box. we want to perform a test of the null hypothesis that the birthdays of all NHL players are evenly distributed, or you could say equally. The null hypothesis has to have some form of equality, distributed among the 4 quarters of the year. The birthdays of all NHL players are not evenly distributed among the 4 quarters of the year as the alternative. There was no significance level specified, so we'll just use our common 0.05. Second box would be the plan. If all conditions are met, we'll perform a chi-squared test for goodness of fit. So we'll check for randomness, and the data does come from a random sample of NHL players. The 10% condition, we found that 10 times 80 is 800, and that is less than or equal to the number of NHL players, and there were 879 NHL players that season. Large counts, so again we're finding the expected counts. So expected counts are, if you take our sample size here, that's at 80, and then each of those, they should have been equally distributed among the 4 quarters, so I should be getting 20 in each of those different quarters of the year, from January to March, April to June, etc., etc. And those are all at least 5. So we've satisfied the conditions in the second box for inference. Third box would be to test, do the test statistic. So that's our chi-squared, so we're going to take each of the different ones. That's the first. This is the first quarter of the year. It was 32. Take that minus the expected value, square that, divide by the expected, etc., for each of the different quarters of the year, and we get our chi-squared statistic of 11.2. So again, all we need to show is just this setup of this work, and we can get that answer. So we see in our chi-squared distribution that 11.2 is right there. Our p-value is all that value to the right. Using table C, we can see that, again, we've got degrees of freedom. There would be 3 because we had 4 different quarters of the year. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then our test statistic is 11.2 is somewhere right in here. So we know our p-value has to be between 1 and 2%. And because the p-value, and this is calculated exactly, and we can show that in the calculator in class, but right now you can just say it's between 1 and 2%, and that's less than our alpha of 0.05. And when our p-value is less than our alpha, we reject the null. So that means we have convincing evidence that the birthdays of NHL players are not evenly distributed across the 4 quarters of the year. So there was another example. Hopefully that's helping you be a little more successful on this first section of Chapter 11. We should be able to state appropriate hypotheses and compute expected counts for a chi-squared test for goodness of fit. We should be able to calculate the chi-squared statistic, the degrees of freedom, and a p-value for a chi-squared test for goodness of fit using table C. Perform a chi-squared test for goodness of fit, and then conduct a follow-up analysis when the results of a chi-squared test are statistically significant. In other words, make an accurate conclusion. Well, that's it for Chapter 11.1. And at this point, you should be able to do these problems now. Numbers 7, 9, 11, 15, and 17. I wish you luck on these. And if there are any questions, make sure to bring them to class and as we work on these problems in class. And we'll see you in the next video on 11.2.